I'm Dick Wright,
And I'm Monique Halen.
and we're here today to do the first episode of the Digital DNA podcast, Digital Netizens Awaken. You're asleep, and we're here to wake you up and tell you what
Yes,
you need
wake
to know.
up. Wake up. It's time to be aware of what's going on.
And what are we going to wake them up from?
A lack of awareness. We're going to wake them up. They're sleeping. They're not aware of how much power they actually have and how much control they need to take back of their data.
So we really want to give people their power back because it's been taken. It's been
Yes.
taken because an internet one, I talked about this a little bit in the pilot that I did. And, when we came up with the first iteration of the internet, it was golden days. It was like sharing knowledge. Everyone was excited about it, right? It was going to be a new age of growth. And
Amazing.
there's been a lot of
Yeah,
growth,
that's
right? A
right.
lot of growth.
Amazing. Any information. You could get anything, connect people, find out things. It's fantastic. It was fantastic.
But then what happened? We got some technology companies that started to gain some size. We call them big tech. You know,
Yeah.
these regular players, the Googles, I
Yeah.
guess the TikToks, the Facebooks, right? All of these companies, they're pretty
Yeah.
big and they kind of own everything.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? When they own everything, what does that mean?
Well, then they have the power. They're making money. They've input cookies in to track everything that you do, to collect more data on you. So they've got control, and it's time for it to change. People need to take back control.
Yeah, so this is it. So let's go into a little bit of detail, a little background on why we're talking about this in the first place. So I told you in the pilot that we're going to be running this podcast in a unique way. It's going to be talking about not only Web3 and your digital data, we're also going to be talking about, interestingly, the company that we're running. The company is called My Digital Twin, and we started this company a couple of years ago. And it's an interesting company with interesting roots. So let me go into a little bit of the history. I was working for a blockchain company a few years back in London, and one of the companies that ICO'd on our platform was a company that had fantastic security. It was incredible security. They called themselves the antisocial network because it was so wonderful and secure. But, you know, I thought, yeah, okay, this great security to keep all your information unhackable in a packet. It's great, but that's the foundation of the
Fantastic.
company.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't it?
amazing.
But is that the big? That for them was the end goal, and
Mm.
for me, I thought that this was a fantastic foundation point to then boost other things. So I remember talking with the president of the company, and I asked him a couple of questions, and I said, "So in your package system, your pod system, where you keep all this information, can you move that information around?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. If you can move it, can you share that information?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, if
Mm.
you can move it and you can share it, then can't you be monetized for it?" And I saw a big bubble, thought bubble.
Wow, you're
Well,
a visionary. You're a visionary, Richard. We know that. You are a
not
visionary.
not really, but saw this
Yeah,
big
you
thought
are.
bubble go up his head. And so basically, that was the genesis for what My Digital Twin is. Basically, it's building on that concept. Nice gentleman. He's retired and doing his own happy retirement in the UK. And we moved on from that and created My Digital Twin. Basically, the idea of the company is that data has value. And if you can own the data and you can control the data and you can share the data, then you can be rewarded for the data. We'll get into a
Definitely.
little,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get
Yeah.
into a bit more detail in a minute on that. But first, I wanted to say it was my initial idea, but then I needed some people to help me start it. So, da 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 da, Mom.
Da-da-da. Thank you. Well, I mean, when you called me, I actually think it was around 5 years ago, Richard. I don't think it was a couple of years ago. We've been talking about this for a long time, which has been great. And what was interesting is when you called me and sort of talked about the idea, I had actually just been in a meeting with some marketing companies that had talked about this idea of them having access to different databases. They could get a database from an airline, a database from a supermarket, a database from a bank, and were trying to work out, well, they said they could merge all of that data and create a profile on someone. so then they could customize marketing campaigns and try and sell to these people. And I remember sitting in that meeting thinking, wait a minute, if they're using all my data to make their job easier to sell to me, it just seems so wrong to me. How do I stop that? How do I protect that? And then it was almost like you called, and it was like, my gosh, this is exactly what's needed. People need to find a way to, no one should have that data on you. Your data shouldn't be sitting in a database from a supermarket. It shouldn't be sitting in a database from an airline that is then shared. So I mean, it's an amazing idea. It needs to happen because it's just got out of control. The amount of data out there that people are producing and they don't even realize, and then it's out there getting shared without them knowing. I mean, it's actually just wrong. So this is great.
No, so that was basically the genesis, and you're right, that was about 5 years ago. We talked about that. We incorporated a company in the last couple of years, and we
Of
brought
course.
on some other people to help us do that. And Mon was the first person because I think she's brilliant at what she does. You want to explain that?
So, well, we've known each other for a long time because we both worked in PR. You're in Asia Pacific, I was in Australia, and then Asia Pacific. Then you obviously did more global work as well. So I used to be a tech journalist, and then I moved into technology PR. So it's an area that I'm really passionate about. I love helping clients tell their story. Clients that I'm passionate about. I don't work with people unless I believe in what they're doing. And I believe in this, which is why I've come on board, and I'm really happy to be one of the partners with you on this.
Yeah, and then and I'm really happy to have Mon on board. I completely trust her, and I know she's invaluable in what she does, and she's a friend. And then I needed somebody in marketing, and I reached out to a fellow that I worked with in London, and he's head of marketing. He's genius guy,
Amazing, amazing.
amazing
Yeah.
guy. So we'll get him on the show later and introduce him properly at that point. Um, then we needed technology lead. And through a friendly contact, a friend of mine introduced me to two guys that work together in the company. And this fellow based in Switzerland is a genius. He's really great. He understands tech through and through. Young enough. I think he's early 40s. And it's a good age to really have a good grasp on old and new and upcoming. So that's a good foothold, and it's in Switzerland.
He's
He can
just he is absolutely amazing. He's so crucial to what we're doing, and he's so passionate about what we're doing. Yeah, he's fantastic. It's great.
And then another fellow, you want to talk about the other
Like the two of them, they're business
partner.
partners. Yeah, they are business partners. He's very smart as well. He's from Sweden, so one from Switzerland, one from Sweden, and just a fantastic business mind to look at. Well, this is a great idea everyone's got, and we can work on the technology and how do we make all that happen. But then, how do we make this something that is actually going to appeal to businesses, or how do we create a business model around that? I suppose,
Yeah.
like looking at the business side of it. And then, of course, we have someone else in the UK that is also, a fantastic person and working on, I suppose, the
Innovation.
the innovation and how do we keep it moving forward. And I mean, all these people will be introduced throughout the podcast. We're not going to give you their names now. You can go onto the website and
And
have a look and find
website,
out who they are. You can go onto the
MD, mdtwin.com, and you'll find everybody. And then
find the team. Yeah.
that's right. And then we have our finance head here in Hong Kong. I'm based in Hong Kong. Mon is based in Sydney. So we're pretty much an international, global type of company, which I think fits the bill today, right? You don't need to be in one place.
And everyone, it's a lot of experience. This team has, combined, there's an enormous amount of experience. We have a great designer on board as well, who's also in Switzerland. To have a look at the website, you can see her great work.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
that's it. We do need a few more people. So as I mentioned in the pilot, we're always looking for people for the leadership team. So
Yes.
I'm doing government affairs now, but I would like to find somebody to do that. Always interested in a tokenization person because by nature of the business that we're creating, we'll have a token, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we do.
And then, a data scientist would be great, you know.
Mm.
So, and those are kind of the first things that pop to mind. But if you're interested and you think you've got an interest in what we're talking about, please message us and let's have a conversation. But
Well,
that's
yeah. And no, Richard, I think the thing is everyone on this team is very excited and passionate about making a difference. Everyone thinks the internet's broken. Everyone thinks that it needs to change. So if there's people listening that feel the same way and want to get on board, whether that's by joining, which they can sign up, or being part of the leadership team, I think that's, yeah, don't stop, reach out because this is going to change the way people's data is used. So, join us.
it is. So actually, let's talk about that. Well, basically, I want to be disruptive. I don't like the way that right now you are taken for granted. Companies basically make you accept a cookie. They worked out this arrangement with regulators for, say, GDPR in Europe, which is fine. But GDPR benefits technology companies. It really doesn't help the individual much. It's very limited in what it does for privacy. I would argue almost nothing. I would say by what it really does is make sure that the individual gives away their data rights. So I have a real problem with that. Now, I don't think regulators are bad people. I think they're great people, and I think they want to help people. So I think they need to see that there is a better way to do this. And this is where people will decide, wow, I really like what you're talking about, or get lost.
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about here, Mon, and our team agrees with this, is there's a better way to run the internet. The internet, Web 2, is perverse, it's broken, it's a kleptocracy, where big companies are basically taking your digital information for nothing. Well, not nothing. They give you access to their website, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's not good enough, right?
No, not good.
So,
Not when they're then using your data to go off and, they're making money off your data. So it's not fair. I mean, you wouldn't go and work for the day and not expect to be rewarded for it. So why should your data be out there working for someone else?
yeah,
That's
but
what's happening.
that's what's happened. And who advises the regulators? Well, it's the technology companies.
Yeah.
And so they tell them to build it this way. And who does it benefit? The technology companies. Who do regulators really want to help? Well, they want to help business, but they really want to help the consumers, right? That's really what their gambit is, their end goal. And they're not doing that right now. So we need to help them see there's a better way. What is that better way? Well, like I was talking about earlier, if you can actually own your data, now you don't own it. Doesn't that sound strange? Doesn't it?
Totally. It's outrage. It's actually outrageous. It's not strange. It's outrageous. And I think when people stop to think about it, think about the amount of data that they have actually out there, their digital data that they're generating every day or they're sharing with people every day. I think once people start to really consider what they're doing, I think they will be alarmed because it is outrageous.
Very alarmed. So what we're going to do is give people ownership of their data. And with that ownership will come control of their data, right? And so in my digital twin, we're building out something similar but different from the other company was the Genesis. We're creating what I call a passport. It's a secure information pod, packet, whatever you want to call it. I call it a passport, where you can travel the internet, where all of your data is securely held. And it couldn't be hacked with a quantum computer. It's blockchain-based technology, super secure. Again, our guy in Switzerland's all over that. So I'm happy what we're going to develop is going to be perfect for what we need. But if we can own it and we can control it, then we can share it. And if we can share it, we should be rewarded for it. So instead of taking a cookie, Mon, I'd say we're the cookies, right? We're the attractive piece, right?
Yeah. Okay.
People want us. We don't need them so much. They need us. So, okay. So let's look at this from a business perspective. What would they say to this conversation? One of the existing big tech companies, what would they think?
I imagine they think, why fix from their point of view, why fix what's not broken? They don't see a problem with it.
No.
Because people look, the amount of data breaches and things that have happened over the last, say, 2 years, and they're only going to increase, right? It's not a matter of when your data's been breached or whether you've been the victim of a cyber attack. it's not if, it's when. So even those people that, enterprises are getting attacked, people's personal data is getting out there. But for something like what we're doing, over time, people won't need to share any of that data. They should be able to show that they're authenticated and they're verified so that that data doesn't need to actually exist in anyone else's company. So, let's minimize the risk of cyber breaches by not having our data out there.
Yeah, I think that's really true. On that point, why has the Internet 2, we call it Internet 1, the first version. Internet 2 is much more of this rise of the big tech and rules and regulations. And Web 3, which is more of a blockchain distributed ledger based internet, which is developing now. So in Web 2, which we're still in technically, why is your information out there? Why is all your personal information all over the place?
Yeah. Look, people don't realize. People don't realize that it's all out there. Hopefully they do now. I think when people have been breached or they've heard about breaches that have happened, they're now aware that, oh my goodness, my information's now on the dark web or my information's been shared. And people are going to go, wait, why is my information out there? You're exactly right. Why is this happening? We've come to a point now we have to scale back. We've got to move backwards because it's not right to keep going this way.
And I think the time for my digital twin is now. 2 years ago, people didn't even know this was an issue. I think now they realize that they have lost their privacy and their data is out there and they don't like it. So what do? They're going to these data scrubbing companies that remove your information wherever they can from the web, one page at a time. And that works. It's costly, but it does work to a degree. And then they also look at the VPN companies, right? So you can't be traced. So that's seen as, wow, that's the savior for my privacy. Well, okay, it's a good step, but it's not anything we're talking about. We're looking at the same thing on steroids. So, right. So basically we want you to own your data, control your data, share it for return. Why would big tech or any tech companies say, I agree to that because they're getting it for free now? Well, because the depth of information that we will be able to have on each individual will be so deep that you'll be able to create sales funnels that you could never dream of in your wildest dreams.
That's right.
And the goal for companies, why they want your data is so they can sell you stuff. So again, I believe in capitalism and I think it's great, but it shouldn't be crony capitalism. It shouldn't be kleptocratic capitalism. It should be capitalism where each of us is a participant, an active participant, and we can choose if we share our information or not. And if we share it, we should get something for that. Right?
Definitely. Totally.
If someone's going to make money off of that data,
might as well be you. Might as well be the consumer.
Yeah, but if they're going to try and market products to you based on what they're seeing and develop products based on the data points you give them, that's incredibly valuable. And
definitely,
I would, for the individual and for the company, I think they will pay. Now, it has to be a reasonable fee. I see this as minute data transactions on each touch point in the internet, but you should be able to make some legitimate money on your data set.
Well, I think these marketing companies, it's about we will be able to provide very clean, verified data. So at the moment when they're purchasing data, it could be old, this is about giving real-time, clean data, which is valuable. More valuable than what they're getting now.
So the data that we're going to share is not really transferred. So it's verified.
Yes.
So, the best way to explain this, 2 ships pass in the night, right? One here, one over here, and one opens a window and the other opens a window, and it can verify that the information it wants is correct. And it can check the box. Yes, that's the information I want. And the window's closed. No actual physical data has transferred from your passport to the third party. So your data is still secure. It's just been verified that you are in possession of that data. Let's say it's a driver's license from Sweden, right? And they want to know that you have that driver's license, or maybe it's your age verification and you're using your Swedish driver's license. They see that you're 18 or whatever the age is for their product. Maybe they want to sell you booze. You're under the limit. Maybe they have a 19-year age limit. So
Okay.
you can't access it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how the data transaction works.
What you're saying is exactly right. Once the data is in your passport in terms of sharing it, it is actually really just you're verified. So the other person in terms of verification doesn't actually ever have access to your data. They won't
More
hold on to
important,
it.
why don't you talk about how the data is kept? Because you're shielded, your actual individual personality, who you are, your individuality is shielded. You want to talk about that?
So you'll have your own avatar that is, that will sit, the passport will sit behind the avatar, if you like, is how it's going to work. And, the avatar will be out there acting on your behalf, but that no one will know who you are in terms of
So
yeah.
they wouldn't see it's Mon or Dick. They
No.
would see it's Super Kitty 99 or whatever you want to be.
That can
right?
be you, right?
Yeah, maybe. That hadn't been my first choice.
Okay. Remember
But
that one. Okay.
but that's the thing. So you're hidden behind the avatar. So you maintain complete privacy.
Yeah.
But still you're verified and you're authenticated.
Yes.
So that's really all that's needed. Your data need not be there. And I think we've been talking for a while now, on what we're going to do on our website. We're still debating it, but we're going to try and show elements of your people that are listening or watching, your digital data that is taken and is on the net. There's an awful lot of stuff in bad places about you.
Yeah, we do want to do that. So that is something that will be coming out where people will be able to go in. You'll only be able to search for yourself. So once people do sign up, it's not at the moment, but it will happen. They'll receive a code where they can go in and do a search on themselves, and we'll, give them a snapshot of what's out there. Because as we've said before, I really think while people are aware there's some data out there, I don't think they realize how much and where it is and how it's being used. Yeah.
So I think we need to definitely get rid of that. The way the system is developed now is wrong. So, I want to be disruptive. I want to be disruptive for everybody out there, all of the consumers that have been screwed, basically, and had their data taken from them. There's nothing wrong with big tech companies, but, I want this to be for the people.
Yeah.
Right. This is a data revolution, man. This is
An
for the people.
uprising. Join it. It is. It's about claiming control, giving you the control back.
Can you imagine the internet's been around for what, 30 years and you've never really owned your data?
And just the amount of data out there and the amount that people are producing, like every day, there's stats about every 60 seconds how much is produced. It is just growing and growing. And then even once we start to get, AI assistants or AI agents out there, it's just going to keep getting more and more data coming out about people. So it is really time to take control.
Yeah, I think so. And again, to the people that might want to join, what we're creating, you can be hidden to a degree. You can actually transit the internet kind of incognito mode, but then you're not going to be rewarded because you're not going to be sharing anything, right? So it depends what you want to do. But that said, that doesn't mean that we're creating an organization where you can store bad stuff or where you can do illicit things.
The other thing, something else that we have been talking about, and it is part of My Digital Twin, is that we will be developing this AI assistant for people, right?
Yep.
That's part of it. Once you have the amount of information that your wallet's going to contain about your digital wallet or passport about you're traveling the internet, you're doing things, your AI assistant is going to start to think for you and do things, and you might look at your calendar and say you have a party coming up in 3 weeks, and based on this, I'm suggesting this gift, or your health insurance is coming up in 2 months' time. I've gone off and negotiated a better rate for you based on what you're doing, because it has access to your personal data and it can go off and actually negotiate for you. So there's lots of different elements about it, but the core of it is giving the control of the data back to people, because once you've got control, you can go off and do so much.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we've been thinking about AI for over a year, I guess, maybe a
Mm.
bit longer than that. So that's definitely going to be incorporated as a key part. And well, it's a key part of life today, right? Already
Yep.
in
Yep.
a very short period of time. So basically, we see that opportunity and we want everyone to be involved to create a much fairer digital world for everybody. So
Yep.
hopefully we can get you interested in that. People can join us. You can sign up to MD Twin anytime you want. mdtwin.com. If you sign up, you'll get some information, and we will be giving you a passport in a matter of time. We're still building the company out. So we have a website that works, but we need a platform
Yep.
behind it that's actually functional. And
It's
we're
coming.
raising no, well, it's coming. We're raising money for that right now. So,
Yep.
if we're going to talk the Shark Tank thing, we've told you, we've kind of pitched you our idea. Wasn't a very good elevator pitch, I'm afraid. We talked for about 15 minutes, but we gave you a bit of a pitch of what we're talking about. So we need some cash to help build
Yep.
that out. We've
Mm.
raised a little bit, and the process has started, but we want to demonstrate that the platform works and that the concept works. We're confident it does, but we need to show you.
Mm.
So that's the first step. So what else do you want to talk about today, Mon? Anything else, or do we save it for the next edition?
I think we save it. I think this has been a great overview of why we're doing what we're doing, the opportunities, trying to make people aware that there's a problem. So hopefully, after listening to this, people are starting to think, "Hey, wait a minute, yeah, like what happens to all that information when I do that and I do this and I accept that and I accept this and you know, just be aware of it and start to know that there's a solution coming. So get on board and join us because we do want to put you back in control of your data and then
Yeah,
help you monetize it. Really, I mean, why? It's an opportunity to make money for people, but it is also a way to control your digital presence.
exactly. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg for us right now because we're starting. We have a really great idea, but we need people. And we also need the money to build it out. So we need the people to believe that there's something here, and they'll get eventually, I hope in a short period of time, they will get the passport that's functional and the first verification
Yeah.
product, right?
Yeah.
To know who you can, right? And also something we're talking about, I mentioned tokens, and we will have a token at the center of our ecosystem. You've heard about Bitcoin. Most people that are watching this probably know all about cryptocurrency. We'll talk about crypto one episode,
A different
but
episode.
a different episode. But we'll have a token. But we're going to have a special token, and I did reference this in the pilot.
Mm.
The
Mm.
token is going to be linked to the underlying value of all of the members' data.
Mm.
So it'll be visible by the number of tokens that we produce. So everyone is going to have a set of tokens come in their passport. I don't know what that's going to be. We'll figure out
Yeah.
that number, and you'll be able to exchange for the token if you want to do that. But we're not looking to replace the US dollar or any other Australian or Canadian dollar in our circumstance. No, that's arrogant. We're not looking at that, right? However, we think we can create a token that has real value. And
Mm.
I would like our passport to be open to anyone, any human being
Mm.
that
Have to be
wants to have
verified.
it can be verified. The average person should be able to benefit from this substantially.
Mm.
So, and you'll be in control of your data and you'll have it in one place and it's safe and secure. So it's a totally new thing. So, again, the name of the podcast is DNA Podcast, Digital Netizens.
Medicines awaken.
And we're trying to wake you up. We're trying to shake you up, wake you up.
Wake
Are they
up.
awake?
Yeah. Get
Are
on
they
board. Yeah,
awake?
they're
Mark?
awake. They're
Are we
awake.
high
Yeah.
enough energy? Do we need to pump it up a bit?
You need some music.
Yeah, maybe you work on the music. We'll figure that
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed this first episode. I'm Dick Wright.
I'm Monique Halen.
She's Monique Halen,
I'm Monique Halen.
and we'll see you next week.
Great.
Thanks. Okay. Bye.